What up, you guys? Welcome back to For Publications YouTube channel. Daily uploads until I open up my own store. And I want to talk today about 61 days of continuous uploading. Why have I done it? What has been the outcome? What do I foresee for burnout? What do the analytics look like? And just all kinds of different things to get into, right? Now, to begin with, if you're wondering why you should do a daily upload, I think it really varies upon yourself and what you're up to in life, right? I think for me, I find it to be having my daily task for Feral Publication really gets me in motion, and then once I'm in motion, it's hard to break that motion. Like every day now, I'm like, I set aside this time to do this thing and then turn on the camera and just recap and just kind of vent or talk about whatever I thought about in regards to Feral Publication in the day. It's something that I think about daily and something I do daily, and just having this kind of like daily task just keeps me, I guess, holding myself accountable, right? If there is no upload, then like I've fallen off, right? And it goes back to that thing of, if you really care about these things, it shouldn't be a hard sell to make that time commitment. It shouldn't be, right? Like I told in the last video, I think it was like the 31-day recap, people spend an excessive amount of time scrolling TikTok and Instagram and other things, and then they say they really care about this other thing, but then they don't put the time and effort into that other thing. I don't want to be one of those people. And so this vlog for me is a way of holding myself accountable, right? Because if I haven't done any work to talk to you guys about, then there's nothing to talk about. And so that way it kind of puts more of a pressure and a burden on myself, right, to show up and do something for Feral Publication. That's why I do a daily upload. I do it because I'm a man on a mission. I want to have my comic book shop no later than 365 days after uploading. I think 1 year is a tangible thing to do. So that's been what I've set out to do. And since I've set out to do that, daily uploads until I do that. So what have I learned? One of the things that I want to say off the back that I've learned is that a lot of times we overthink it. Kind of going back to that Wolverine sketch thing of like, we make the process a lot bigger and more difficult than it really is. Like a lot of times it's just me turning on the camera, right? Me just taking that time to just talk to the community, to say something that I think will add value to somebody's day. And we overthink that kind of stuff. Like, how many times do you think a task is a lot harder than you find it is once you start doing it? So like, we'll put the burden in our own mind, but as you do it, you realize that there was really no burden. It wasn't that big of a deal, right? So I think that what I've learned really is the demystification of like daily uploading, the demystification of like creating a structure where daily I'm holding myself accountable to show up and do this thing. And I've demystified it. It's what I've learned is like, this is doable. This is something that is sustainable. This is something that is tangible. As long as I want to do this thing, I shall be able to do it, because there's really nothing holding me back from it. One thing I will say about the workflow, right, and the time management is that certain things that I was doing, I stopped doing, right? So like I was doing the daily shorts, I don't do that anymore. I was also doing a daily upload on TikTok and Instagram, not doing that anymore. One of the things that I've also learned is the things that I don't find add value to what I'm trying to do, I need to just cut it out. You know what I mean? Like, it goes back to something I was talking to a friend about, of like, when I was young, any book I started reading, I would force myself to finish it, no matter how bad the book was. As I've gotten older, I don't do that. If I'm 100 pages into the book and I haven't liked it, I stop reading it. My time, I've learned and realized, is much more precious than I used to give it, credit for. And now I'm not and now I'm very frugal with my time. So like, if it doesn't serve a purpose, I cut that sucker out. And so there's certain things that I was doing originally, and I did it for quite a bit of time, but I no longer am doing, right? So like I cut that. And I think that that frees you up to just do what is working, just better, So I don't think I'm gonna run into burnout, right? I don't know how many people realize this, but I was like super sick for like, I don't know, 4 days sometime last week. And like, I did not think I was gonna be able to upload one day. I was like completely gone, homie. This cold or fever, whatever I had, it had laid me out, homie. I was out, dead asleep, homie, for the whole day. But then I still showed up. And because I cut out things that don't work and things that don't add value to me and what I'm up to and things that don't bring me joy, right? I feel like I'm gonna stray away from burnout. I think people that burn out is because they're making content that they don't care about. They're pandering to folks, right? And so like, they're not being honest or sincere, right? Whereas my videos, they're really whatever hodgepodge nonsense I decide to make that day. But in a lot of ways, it's also a way of me reflecting and really chewing over my thoughts, ideas, my process. And I think that because of that, because it's a reflection of my day-to-day actions and my art endeavors, I think it's going to be hard for me to burn out. Because like, as anyone who's a creative knows, right, like the impulse to create, like that thing is never satisfied. Like, you always want to make more stuff, you know, you always want to make more art, you always want to tell more stories. And so for me, I cannot see myself burning out. If it becomes more formulaic and more pandering and more I need to do, I need to say, I should do, I should say, then at that point it's gone, right? And I think that's what leads to burnout. Like, once again, for instance, on my 31-day video, I talked about how the Joanne's video did really well, but then I didn't milk it and make 100 different Joanne videos. And the same thing could be said now, where I have a few videos that really popped, and like, they were on certain topics and themes, right? One of them was my thoughts on, like, you know, the directors and Marvel movies and things like that. And that video did exceptionally well, right? Compared to my other videos. But that was it, man. In that day, in that moment, I remember reading an article about Quentin Tarantino and his view of the Marvel movies, and that's what spawned that video. That doesn't mean I made 100 videos about it. And so, like I said, because it really is a reflection of my creative endeavor in the day, I think I'm staying away from what other people do for burnout, right? Because they're not making content that is true to themselves, right? They're making content that they think they can sell to a mass audience. So what are the stats? I have them written down here. It's views are up this month from last month. And this is the thing that gets me, right? Because they were already up the first 30 days. They were up exponentially, right? But the views for this month compared to last month are up by 9,000 views. The subs are up 29, but they're only up by 3 new subscribers this month, which when I did the math, it's like 1% up. And this is more of what I assumed, right? That like the original 30-day, the numbers were skewed because I hadn't uploaded in so long and so on and so forth. But now that I'm doing dailies, it's gonna start to balance out, and where I'm gonna find the real rate of growth for each of these ones, right? And so again, for views, it's still pretty high up there. But for subs, it's only 1% growth from this month to last. So again, that's still pretty damn good, because 29 new subscribers in a month, that's a pretty damn sizable commitment from the community, right? So I appreciate that. Unique views actually went down, so it's less than it was. And this I can account for, right? When I did the math, I started realizing that, like, because I stopped doing those daily shorts uploads that I was talking about, obviously the unique viewers are getting pulled in through the shorts. And because I'm not uploading shorts right now, they're gone. And then the watch hours are up 31.4% from last month, and they were already going up since last month. So that number is still going strong. I'm not sure when that's going to taper off, but the views as well is already beginning. You can already see it starting to taper off. And so, like, that's cool, because that's what we want to see. We want to find the true rate of growth on each of these endeavors, right? Beyond that, one of the metrics that you don't see here, and you know, I'm thinking like you guys can't see it through the channel, because I am starting to show more of the sales and the packaging and all that stuff, which we have. It reminds me, I have more sales to send out tomorrow, but the sales have gone up, right? And I could clearly see the correlation between the daily uploads and the sales growth, you know. And so like it's just that thing about the more you communicate, the more you're throwing your lure out there, you're trying to find your community, you're trying to build that community, the more you're gonna find those like-minded people that do want to participate in what you're up to. And so like for me, again, my madness, this craziness, this creative impulse to just make, it's never satisfied. And because of that, I find it fulfilling to just make a daily video. I find it fulfilling to make hella comic books, hella zines, to work on hella projects simultaneously. Like I told you guys before, the making part for a creative being, that's the easy part. The hard part is like the structure that you create. And like I said, for me, this daily upload is part of that structure that I made to hold myself accountable and to move projects forward. Like once I speak something to existence, I have like, you know, a tangible document now that I can always go back to and say, yeah, I did say I was gonna do, and I haven't done, and I haven't finished, right? And so like I said, in that way I do hold myself accountable. And I think that tomorrow I want to talk about like my list of projects, because what I've learned now is that like once I speak into existence, I write it down on a piece of paper and I have it there, and I'm crossing them out as I progress in the projects. But like it's good to have that big list of shit that like I want to make and I've said I'm gonna make, you know? And some of them are secret projects that I can't wait to finish them and show them to the community. But some of them as well are things that we've already mentioned, and like I just haven't gotten around to finishing those projects yet. But alright, you guys, that's all I want to talk to you guys about today. 61 days of continuous uploading definitely has been it's been an eye-opener for me for sure. And I definitely recommend it for anyone that's really goal-oriented, but you sometimes feel like you're falling off. I think that a daily upload really works. So you guys, as always, there will be a link in the show notes where you guys can get the zines I make, buttons, stickers, t-shirts as well that I make, all this punk counterculture, underground, DIY, punk kind of art. Beyond that, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys, guess what, tomorrow. Lates.